Sure, I guess we can check it out. Why
Your
not?
favorite superhero is in a coma, and the best writers in the industry are standing around the hospital bed with no idea how to wake them up. DC and Marvel think the answer is a fresh start. It's a cure. But they're ignoring the fact that they've already poisoned the patient.
So I'm not a big comic guy. But my understanding with comics is, and this is a big part of the reason why it's like, it's sort of hard. There's like a couple of reasons why it's hard to bring people in. It's kind of part of the reason why I have no interest in doing so. Every time I look at a comic series, it's like, how do I even get involved? Because there's like 70 years of the same character. And obviously there's different series, but it's like, where do you even touch a series like that? Also, very clearly AI generated background, gotta love it. But like I just cannot find myself any desire to ever touch Western comics because of that, like, sort of difficulty to get into it. And I think another problem is Western comics are terrified of ever doing a new character, right? Like, there have obviously been new superheroes made over the... And that's the other thing. Is there a single mainstream comic? Is there a single mainstream comic that is not about a superhero, a supervillain, or an anti-hero? I think that's what makes manga so much more appealing. They actually are willing to, like, play around with concepts, right? Like, you'd never see like a Akane Banashi from like a fucking Western creator.
Look, you know the feeling well. It's Wednesday morning. You walk into your local comic shop and...
The Walking Dead, we have one. You have found one. We have two people. There's like 80 years of comics, and two people said the exact same series. I think I've made my point. There's so few examples that you both said the exact same thing.
The smell of fresh ink and floor wax hits you right in the face. But for the first time in 10 years, you don't head for the DC section starting with the letter B.
Mm-hmm.
You don't even look at the Batman rack. You feel that twinge of guilt, sure, but mostly you feel just nothing. Complete apathy. That's the psychological tax of a disastrous run. For 3 years, you were told that watching Bruce Wayne lose his mind, his fortune, and his family...
Radiant Black is basically Power Rangers. Okay, that's... mostly superheroes? Okay, now I'm getting this. That's a superhero comic. That's a superhero comic. No, this is like... That's a superhero comic. You can call it a super like a Sentai series. That's a superhero comic.
It was bold storytelling in big bold letters. You sat through the failsafe arc, which was actually pretty good at the start anyway. You watched the Gotham War tear the Bat family apart. And then you saw Batman replaced by a robot because apparently we need another deconstruction of why being a billionaire is bad. But by the time Chip Zdarsky was done, the contract between you and the book was completely shredded.
Mm-hmm.
You weren't reading about a hero, you were reading a trauma journal that cost $5 a month. Now, at some point, that frustration turns into a very specific kind of apathy.
Mm-hmm.
It's a survival mechanism. You realize that you spent over $100 in a single year just to feel annoyed. And here's a dry observation for you. Bruce Wayne has lost his fortune more times in the last decade than I've lost my car keys. And at this point, the keys are more meaningful to the plot. Now, the corporate machine tells you it's safe to come back.
Mm-hmm.
They've brought in Matt Fraction. They've given you Jorge Jimenez. They're promising a back-to-basics era with blue and gray suit and classic detective work.
I just don't understand the fucking comic industry, man. I just don't get why. Well, I do get why, because it's hyper corporate at this point. They're terrified of doing anything that is not like a mainstream character. If you go back to when comics started, right? There were no mainstream characters, so there were a bunch of... And there have been a bunch of different characters over the years, but like, now that sort of, there's this DC movie machine, right? There's this Marvel movie machine. You have to keep doing the characters people know, because they sort of like... The industry sort of hyper-focused on these few characters that nothing else sells.
But
the problem then is, when the mainstream characters stop selling, what the fuck do you do then? You haven't built up anything. And then you try to build something up then, and people fucking hate it. They keep recycling, rewriting the same... Well, it's not even just the fact that they keep using the same characters. It's the fact that they keep doing the same thing, right? Like, why do you... If you're gonna, like, keep... Like, good example, right? Let's compare something like a Spider-Man to a One Piece. How many times do you need to see an origin story? How many times do you need to fight the same villains? And it's that point, right? Where, like, they spent so much time doing the same things over and over again, they don't even know that there's like a possibility outside of that. It has worked for Pokemon? No, it hasn't. Pokemon's not that at all. Every single series of Pokemon is entirely different. Yes, it has that same sort of set of goals. And even then, actually not even true. In the latest series, or in the last two series, it hasn't even been, like, gym-focused. They write something new, good, and cool, and immediately pop them into mainstream, ruining the specific appeal that character or comic offered.
Tag on the cover says $5. $5 for a maybe.
Wait. I need to find it. Let me find it. Give me a second. Unless someone has the link. Twitch streamer $5. No, I just want the clip. I don't want the entire thing.
How did my whole speech about how I need subs to keep the stream going, if you like the content, blah, 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 how that results in 0 subs? There are regulars here. $5 a month. How do you have hours of time to watch me and not $5? I don't know. What are you doing with your life where you have hours of time to watch Twitch and not $5 to provide for the content that you're watching? Because it's like people just really they really don't respect me as a content creator.
Well,
every time I hear $5, that immediately comes to mind.
To see if they've stopped hitting you with more deconstruction, noise, and nonsense.
Mm-hmm.
It's the dread of the wait and see. You aren't just saving money, you're protecting your peace.
Mm-hmm.
You've been conditioned to expect disappointment, and that disappointment has a cumulative interest rate.
Mm-hmm.
This is the exhaustion of the...
See, there is actually a similar thing happening with manga. Nowhere near this extreme, and not the same characters over and over again, but there is actually a problem with Shonen Jump, where a lot of series that go through Shonen Jump have a very similar structure. Now, some series break out of that and do their own thing. But there is, the whole, I'm just some weak guy, and then, turns out I have anti-magic or some other sort of there's actually a demon that's possessing me, and hey look, here's my rival who is not Sasuke, who is not Vegeta, who is not fucking Potential Man from JJK. What the fuck was his name? I don't remember. I don't care. You have that same structure that's like happening with Shonen Jump as well. And there are series that break out of that, right? Like Akane Banashi, yes, it has the tournament arcs. Yes, it has like some of that like DNA, but it's managed to escape that. Kagurabachi as well. Obviously One Piece, but a lot of series, especially a lot of the ones that get cancelled, they do end up sort of going through that mold. And it's becoming an issue. And it's because Shonen Jump is so extreme with cutting series that people don't want to experiment anywhere near as much.
Veteran reader who has realized that brand loyalty is just a fancy term for corporate hostage. If a restaurant serves you raw chicken for 3 years, you don't show up the first night they hire a new chef. You wait. You watch. And in the world of the $5 monthly comic, most people just find a new place to eat entirely. We are currently
3 minutes into the video, we have your intro,
a
sure.
phenomenon I call the reputational debt. It's the measurable delay between a creative improvement and a sales recovery. The publishers are confused. They look at the...
Oh yeah, no, this... You want a good example? Another good example of this? I don't play the game, but I have spoken... I know people who play it, and like it's like a general sentiment. World of Warcraft had like 3 garbage expansions in a row. Then they made a good expansion. So the sale... Here we go. Do I have a thing? Do I not have it in the thing? Okay. So I'll just do it with my hand. The sales for World of Warcraft kind of went like this, okay? And then this right here is like the worst expansion they ever made. Sales were still going up. Then they make a good expansion. But then people finally realized the game was shit, and sales started going down like this. So even though that new expansion, that new content is good, people finally realized the game was garbage, and then bounced the fuck out. And it's kind of happened in a sense with FF14 as well. In sort of an opposite way. FF14 had a bunch of really good expansions, and now with the latest one, it's just a mess, and it's like, it's come down. But I am almost certain the new expansion will come out, and that is just going to keep going down, because people don't even realize the game's good yet. And then like 2 or 3 later is when it eventually climbs back up. Because it takes time for people to be willing to accept that, hey, maybe things have gotten better again.
Current Batman run by Matt Fraction and see a good book. It's decent. I wouldn't call it great, but it's okay. They see the craftsmanship, the mystery, the return to form, the great art. Then they look at the sales spreadsheets and see just nothing exciting happening. Just a plateau. They don't understand that they aren't...
And I think it's going to happen with... I think it might happen with AC Black Flag as well, right? Assassin's Creed is in a fucking, like, absolute mess right now. And I actually have a feeling the Black Flag remake is going to sell terribly. Or at least way undersell their targets. Because they've had so many bad games in a row. That even though Black Flag is a beloved game, it's just going to fucking fall off a cliff.
Selling Matt Fraction's Batman, they are still selling the memory of the Zdarsky era. When a creator drives away a percentage of the audience, those readers don't just sit in a waiting room until the next writer arrives. They migrate. They find a new hobby. They switch to manga, or more dangerously, for the mainline books, they move to the alternatives that the same publisher is dangling in front of them. The industry is currently in a state of clinical instability. We're seeing a 2-tier fandom. The completionists who will buy a book until the heat death of the entire universe, and then the trust-based readers who have finally realized that their trust is a finite resource. The corporate offices are treating these characters like immortal assets, but they've forgotten that the interest in those assets is mortal. It can, and does, die.
Right.
Now, the structural lie being peddled by editorial is pretty simple. A new creative team is a fresh start. Well, that sounds good on paper, But this is
Yeah, it's a fresh start with a 70-year-old cat. Okay, let's find out. Batman. How old is Batman? When was the original run of Batman? 39. $1939. This is a what? 85-year-old character. Nothing you do with an 85-year-old character is a fresh start.
Objectively false. In a serialized medium like
86,
comics, there's no such thing as a fresh start unless you reboot the numbering and the universe and the life of the character.
No, I think even this guy is like still coping a bit. No. Even that doesn't work. You need to like delete everything and just start again.
Every new writer inherits the reputational debt of their predecessor. If the previous run was a disaster, the new writer starts in a hole.
Mm-hmm.
They spend their first 6 issues or more being the janitor, cleaning up the lore, fixing the character assassinations, and trying to convince the audience that it's okay to care again and to come back. But here's the plain truth of it. The healing period...
This is such a wild concept. That just does not exist with manga.
...is a luxury the current market can't afford. Because of the $4.99
Root,
price,
how's it going?
which is typical for both Marvel and DC, the wait-and-see period has become a never-coming-back period.
Mm-hmm.
In 2010, you might drop $2.99 to check out a new team. In 2026, with inflation squeezing every household, a comic book is a luxury item. Readers are
And then you have manga over here, where it's like fucking $15 for a volume.
making binary choices. If a book was bad for 2
Why
years,
do you pirate manga?
the reader has
Mystery.
already filled that $5 a month hole in their budget with something else that's either more entertaining or more important. The mechanism at play there is budgetary displacement. The publishers aren't just fighting bad reviews, they are fighting the fact that they force their customers to build a life without them.
Mm-hmm.
And once a customer learns they can live without Batman, they realize they were never a customer.
Mm-hmm.
They were a fan who was being exploited. Now let's look at the evidence of this injury. According to ICV2 and Comic Hub data, The Flash, number 31,
Mm-hmm.
the start of the Ryan North era, failed to crack the top 20 in the direct market. This is a catastrophic failure for a legacy title with a, shall we say, quote-unquote star writer.
Mm-hmm.
While the book is critically better, it's sitting in a sales plateau. Now, just for clarification, my analysis of retailer order flow suggests a 15% month-over-month decline during Cy Spurrier's previous cosmic horror experiment wasn't just a dip. It was a permanent exit of the core Flash family demographic. The brand was so alienated that even a safe writer couldn't spark a return.
Uh-huh.
So now you have Ryan North paying the penalty for Cy Spurrier's bad writing. Let's take a look at another example, and probably the big one that everybody's going to think of, Amazing Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing Spider-Man is the industry's zombified king. While Joe Kelly's current run maintains a top 15 slot, news source reports show that Ultimate Spider-Man, the alternate universe version, is consistently outselling the mainline book in total units,
Mm-hmm.
which is mind-boggling when you consider they ended Ultimate Spider-Man.
I think the reason why is because you actually, even though it was the same characters, they actually did something different with the Ultimate stuff.
And in favor of a reboot or some kind of change in the direction of the Ultimate Universe.
Mm-hmm.
The Zeb Wells run, which is what we'll call the Paul era, didn't just hurt Amazing Spider-Man, it created a mass migration.
Mm-hmm.
Fans didn't stop wanting Spider-Man, they stopped wanting that Spider-Man. They stopped wanting Zeb Wells' version of Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
The healing period for the mainline book is being cannibalized by its own alternate version, Ultimate Spider-Man, because the mainline brand is viewed as toxic. And now that it's ended, the mainline...
I missed the comic book era, but at least I'm a gamer. Man, fucking video game... Like... There's a lot of shitty video games that come out. Why do you think, like... Like, yeah, there's a lot of shit video games that come out. Why do you think I'm fucking... Where is it? Where's my Steam? Where did my Steam window go? Here? Ah, here it is. Like... In my free time, I'm playing... Okay, I'm playing a new game. I'm playing Pragmata. But, like, besides that, I'm playing Trails from Zero. I also play some Enter the Gungeon. I haven't played this in a bit, but very fun game. But like, go back and play old games. If things suck right now, go back and play old things. Like, 100% go, yeah, exactly, right? If there's like, maybe there's one good game a year that comes out, play that game. Besides that, have you played fucking Baldur's Gate 2? Have you played Chrono Trigger? Have you played, I don't fucking know, Final Fantasy 6? Go play them if you haven't. Yeah, you know what? If you're not done early Mass Effect, go play Mass Effect.
Spider-Man has nowhere to go to keep the brand afloat. And then the third example, which is probably the most damning.
Have I played Ultima Underworld? No, I haven't.
Bleeding Cool confirms that Absolute Batman now consistently moves over 300,000 units. But here's the trick. It's based on variant and cover inflation. That 300,000 number is heavily manufactured, with over 45 exclusive retailer variant covers per issue. Thousands of those units are being parked in retailer inventory, not sitting on reader nightstands. Again, it's the difference between what the retailers order and the sell-through, which is what the customers actually buy. Those numbers are massively different. Yet even with that inflation, the contrast is stark. Matt Fraction's mainline Batman is struggling to hold 85,000 units. So even within the publisher, which is DC, Batman as a brand is eating itself. Now, based on cross-referencing available retailer feedback and inflation trends, I estimate that we are seeing an approximate 25% budgetary attrition rate in monthly pull lists. When the price point hit $4.99, the grace period between a good run and a bad run effectively died. If a fan has $6 to spend, they're spending it on the new shiny Absolute book, even if it's a very inflated peak, rather than the healing legacy book. They're going to go where they're going to have fun.
I don't see anyone buy comics anymore.
Not based on...
We have a few comic stores here, but here's the funny thing. Every single comic book store I know about stocks manga as well. Because manga, they can move. If you're going to stock, like, One Piece, Spy Family, My Hero's over now, but, I don't know, what are the normies reading right now? Dragon Ball's always a solid thing to stock. Probably Kagurabachi when the anime comes out, but not just yet. Maybe there's going to be some reruns of Soul Eater, because Fire Force... It would be very nice if we got a Soul Eater remake that actually finished the manga, rather than just giving a fucking fanfic ending.
Loyalty. That period is over
Good point.
And done. So what's the big message here? What do we take away from this? You can't, and you, meaning the publishers, cannot expect an audience to pay full price for the privilege of watching you fix your own mistakes. Can it be fixed? Of course. Everything can be fixed with enough time, money, and effort. Everything can be fixed. And here are just 4 ways that we can do it to end that reputational debt crisis. For the publishers, you need a healing tier price point.
You need a this series sucks price point.
Team is replaced after a disastrous run. The first 6 issues of the new run should be priced at a lower point, say $2.99. Call it an entry incentive. Call it an apology tour. Call it whatever you want. You have to buy back the trust you sold for short-term rage engagement clicks and bad press. Now for the retailers, stop ordering based on character legacy and start ordering based on community sentiment. If your customers are telling you they're done with a run, believe them. Don't let reputational debt become your inventory debt.
I don't know what it's like with the comic book industry, but when it comes to card games, that's not something you can do. Yu-Gi-Oh! Is actually a really good example. Yu-Gi-Oh! There's a reason why Yu-Gi-Oh! Well, there's many reasons why Yu-Gi-Oh!'s cooked. But a lot of a lot of card game retailers don't like stocking Yu-Gi-Oh! Because they're not moving inventory. But if you don't stock a certain amount of Yu-Gi-Oh!, they don't sell it to you. So you've basically got to take a loss on Yu-Gi-Oh! Because you want to develop like a Yu-Gi-Oh! Community. And I assume comics are kind of a similar way where it's like, hey, if you want to stock whatever popular thing people are buying, you have to stock our other things as well.
Now for the journalists. Stop celebrating #1 issue sales as a return to form. Look at issue number 6. If the audience doesn't stay, the healing period has failed and the publishers need to pivot. Demand accountability for the editorial decisions that drove the fans away in the first place. That is the only way the healing can begin. You can't fix a patient if they're still being actively attacked. Now for the readers like you, don't hate buy. That's dumb. It's a waste of money. The only signal a corporation here...
Hate buy? Who the fuck? What the fuck are you... What are you people on that you're hate buying?
...is the sound of a pull list being deleted. If you want to return to a book once it's safe, wait for the trade, and then force the publisher to earn your monthly $5 again. Stop being a slave to loyalty that isn't earned. So just to put a finer point on it, a good creator taking over a bad run is not a magic wand. It doesn't automatically fix anything. If the publisher doesn't provide the economic and editorial space for a book to heal, they're just sending a new writer out to die in a graveyard that they built for themselves.
Did we ever change?
So
Wait, I just realized, I don't think we ever changed over to just chatting, did we? Yeah, we didn't. Oops, my bad.
Found this video interesting, but before you go,
Well, I understand hate reading and hate watching, but why the fuck would you spend money on it?
need your help with a few questions, and I need you to leave the answers to those questions in the comments below. Number 1. Have you...
Is there an anime you know that's suffering from being milked in alternate timelines? Suffering? I wouldn't say so. But, like, the closest thing is probably, like, Fate. But Fate's still doing incredibly well. So, it's hard to really say Fate. I think you might even, maybe you can argue like One Piece, but One Piece is doing, like, you know, One Piece has, they have the main One Piece series, then you have the Netflix series, you have the Lego series coming out, you had the reanimation of Fishman Island, you have the Wit Studio version that's never coming out, but One Piece is also bigger than it's ever been, so it's even hard to say that.
Officially moved your Batman budget or your Spider-Man budget or your Flash budget or whatever character you've been loyal to for so many years over to
Blue Moon, you mean Type Moon?
Or just stop buying it altogether. I want to know how your buying habits have changed as a result of a bad run. Number 2, is there a creator who could actually make you pay $5 a month for the mainline Amazing Spider-Man again? It's currently in the hands of Joe Kelly, and I'll be honest with you, he's not as bad as Zeb Wells, but it ain't great. So if anybody's going to fix Amazing Spider-Man, I want you to tell me who you think that person is. And number 3, simple binary question, very easy to answer. Is the legacy numbering helping or hurting these books in 2026? We're seeing a lot of milestones pop up, especially now we've got Amazing Spider-Man number 1000 coming up, but the numbers are, how should we say, suspect. But does that help you at all?
See, that's my point. How do you even read that? Like, can you, like, if you're someone who doesn't read comics, this is a problem, right? And it's a problem that long-running manga have as well. Can I just jump in? Do I have to go back and read from the start? Like, if I'm going to read from the start, then that's going to be a problem for modern sales, yeah? But, like, is there a point where I can jump into a series like that? Like, what can I, like, if you're someone who's not already reading comics, That is a ludicrous proposition.
The legacy numbering actually encourage you to buy more comics, or is it just another milestone to tick off a checklist? Give me your yes or no in the comments below for number 3. Hey,
the way it's usually done is at the start of any issue number 1 of a series, and if you need to know something from before that, the writer will explain it. But, like, you understand my point, right? If you're someone new to comics and you don't have that context, how, like, it's hard to sort of work out what to eat. Like, even, let's say you want to get into comics and you don't understand that context. That's, like, a confusing proposition.
if you like this video, please hit the subscribe button and tap the bell for notification. It helps us grow
Use
and
the Spider-Man
helps us
Arch
make more
Wiki.
videos just like this one. If you want to keep the conversation going and get
That was fun. I don't read comics myself, so it was interesting to see that sort of like that different perspective. But I think I can understand why things are a little bit cooked. Yeah.